Hi, my name is Emily Seifang.
I'm Ulrika Turnquist.
I'm Cindy Cooper.
And I'm Tara Schlachter.
And we are graduate students in Industrial and Organizational Psychology at Middle Tennessee State University. Recently, we partnered with the Association for Talent Development in Nashville for a class project. For this class project, we came up with various resources that we thought would help with ATD Nashville. So before we begin, we are just going to go over a brief overview of what we did in the project. So we're going to start with a proposal that was written by a senior project consultant. Then we're going to talk about the job descriptions, the job aids, and the glossary. And finally, we'll finish out with what we learned throughout this process. So the goals of the project, as identified by the senior project consultant, were to update the job descriptions for board members, create job aids for board members, and finally to create a glossary of terms for the board members and for anyone looking on the ATD Nashville website. The deliverables at the end of the project were to deliver the updated job descriptions, identify the job aids and create them, and update the glossary.
So the first part of this project really began with the job descriptions that ATD Nashville already had. This was really a 5-step process for us. We began by reviewing the current job descriptions that they already had on record. We then compared these to the international ATD job descriptions. This kind of gave us a feel for what the positions in Nashville looked like and then also what the positions on an international level looked like. After we did that, we kind of sat down, came up with some questions, typical job analysis questions like frequently performed tasks, most important roles, so that we could then send that out along with these the job descriptions from Nashville and then the ATD international job descriptions to the members so that they could review them, and then we conducted phone interviews so that we could ask them those questions and make sure that we got everything, all the information that we needed moving forward. After that happened, it was really just synthesizing the job analysis information that we got and then also reviewing those current international job descriptions again and filling in those gaps. And then finally, it was formatting and standardizing the documents so that they could then be distributed on the website and then also turned in as part of this project. The positions that we came up with new job descriptions for, or should I say that we reorganized the job descriptions for, were the president-elect, marketing and communication, the vice president of technology, the vice president of finance, and then the vice president of virtual and professional development and user group.
So the next deliverable that we had was developing job aids. So this process really consisted of going through the interviews and asking the board members what they felt would best benefit from a specific job aid. We then identified these tasks through the interviews, and we went through and established what specific ones we wanted to create, and then we established which format we felt would be best given the task at hand. For our specific project, we decided to choose to do a step-by-step, a checklist, and the gripping model for our job aids. We then researched these tasks to make sure that we really had accurate information, and for example, if we're doing a step-by-step process, we wanted to make sure that these steps were actually what the board members were going to experience while they're completing these tasks. Then we developed the job aids, and finally we created a unified format to make sure that everything was standardized for all the board members. So the job aid topics that we decided to include pertain to how to enter an event into Wild Apricot. We then created a job aid on how to create and conduct a go-to meeting. These two job aids were more general, and we felt that these would apply to all board members. However, our next job aid, which is an orientation checklist, we felt that this could be best tailored for the VP of Technology. And finally, we created job aids for the president and president-elect that followed the goals, roles, processes, and interpersonal procedures of the specific board position.
So the final deliverable that we have for you guys is the glossary. We started this process by brainstorming terms that we thought would be essential to ATD, things that we thought would be a good balance between academic terms as well as terms that would be used in everyday occurrences. We then conducted research to locate the definitions of the terms that we came up with. We scoured a bunch of articles, internet sources, books, anything we could get our hands on, we used that to come up with the definitions of these terms. And then finally, we compiled a glossary. We ensured that the definitions were verified, and we proofread the list and then formatted it in the appropriate manner. We were able to come up with a glossary that contains definitions that are relevant to topics including leadership theories such as transactional leadership, leader-member exchange theory, and charismatic and transformational leadership, some motivation theories such as self-determination theory, job characteristics theory, goal-setting theory, and the need for achievement theory, and then some individual trainee characteristics that include organizational commitment, job involvement, self-efficacy, and finally some training terms that we thought would be important to know, including coaching, cognitive task analyses, continuous learning, and engagement, just to name a few.
So to wrap up the presentation, we're going to go over the 5 main things that we learned throughout this process. So the first is we learned how to utilize GoToMeeting, and this is something that Doug showed us so that we could have bi-weekly meetings to go over the process and what we were going through and things that we needed help with. Second is when considering your timetable, always account for delays. So when you're involving other people in a project, it's important to accommodate to their needs. Third, the concepts we are learning in class are applicable to the professional world, so it's nice to know that all the hours we've spent sitting in class are going to pay off. The importance of business etiquette when communicating with clients is always important, to put your best foot forward and make a professional impression. And finally, being flexible is critical. Like I said, when you're involving other people that have very busy schedules, you have to be able to accommodate for their needs as well.
So lastly, we would like to say a big thank you to ATD Nashville for allowing us this opportunity. Specifically, we would like to thank Doug Gray for his help on this project. It was a great honor to be able to work with him and with the board members at ATD Nashville. And we would also like to thank our advisor and head consultant on this project, Dr. Michael Hine. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.